Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's little talkback radio show. We've got Shontell with us tonight. Thank you all for joining us. So we're spinning yarns with Shontell. So which way, Shontell? How are you?
Hey, same way. I'm good, thank you.
That's good. We both are going ninja tonight. I know KJ will be pretty impressed with us. So no, that's good. Well, first I'd like to acknowledge where I am today. So I'm on Noongar country down here in Perth. So Dara Bhuktati woman from Far North Queensland. Thank you all for joining us. So which way are you, Shanta? Whereabouts are you from and where are you at today?
I'm in Cairns, my mob Kanji, so up the Cape there, and Torres Strait, so Bardo and Murray Island up there.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to have you finally because we yarn all the time.
Yeah.
So you actually sit and have a yarn. So it's good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so the purpose of us just checking in with everyone is just really just to see how your mob are going all on site, to see, like what she's up to, like, and just things like that, just a general yarn, see how your mental wellness is going as well and all of that. So how have you been going? You've been back on site yet since lockdown?
I was on site when the initial lockdown happened last month. I haven't been back since. I should be back out next round. But yeah, I guess initially it was a little bit hectic because it was such a evolving situation. Like every day it was changing, but now site have got all the procedures in place, and so yeah, it's just flowing a lot better than it was beforehand. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's good. And I know, like when we were young, you were saying like you need, because you're so like such a people's person and not, going around
When did I
hugging
say?
and
When I did not say that.
just make stuff up about you.
It was I guess I think when you're out on site, it feels like it's a little bit more controlled than when you're like back home. I don't know. When you're back home, it's like the reality of it really hits you. Whereas when you're out on site, you're just going through the motions, really. I mean, every day, procedures and everything would change. But for the most part, like I think, well, with the site that I'm at, I think they handled it really well, and yeah.
No,
Oh,
that's good.
good.
Thank you for sharing. And I think like that's across Australia. Like there's been a lot of, good news, good standards that are coming from site, which is really good. Yeah. So I know there's a lot of other, data and media and that are out there as well. So it's really good to kind of get on the ground and see what, what your experiences are as well.
Yep, for sure. Yeah.
So tell me about Shontell. So I know you're a very, very interesting person. We got a lot to yarn about and learn more about. So how long have you been in the industry for?
I've been in the industry for 7 years now. I started off at Blackwater with a traineeship. Previous to mining, I was in public service, both state and federal, project management. And so it was a big culture shock shifting from, I guess, the public service over to mining. After I finished my traineeship, which was a pre-strip traineeship at Blackwater with BMA, I took up a position with Workpack, fly in, fly out of Cairns. Although, like, I really liked working at Blackwater, I just found it was difficult for me to be there because there was no family. I didn't really, I'm not from the Rockhampton area or anything. I don't really have a lot of rallies or anything around there. So I decided to shift back to Cairns, and I was lucky enough to get a fly-in, fly-out position, which they're pretty hard to get. And yes, I've been out at Dornier with Workpack, which is a BMA BHP site, operating and training assessing as well. So other than that, outside of mining, I screenwrite for film and television. And that's been going pretty well as well. It's really exciting. I got to write on the 4th series of Black Comedy, and I have a few projects that I'm working on at the moment that are pretty exciting. I guess with all this COVID stuff happening in the arts sector, there's been, I guess, a halt to a degree, but I guess it just gives us more time, or me specifically with my projects, to develop them further, fine tune them. So when all of this passes, hopefully later on in the year, we'll be able to push them forward. So it's good. Everything's going good.
Yeah, definitely. And that's so deadly as well. Like, there's so many questions to ask there. And of course, if you got any comments or questions for Shontell, please write in. Thank you, KJ. First off the list. She, this deadly girl, she reckon. Very good. She does actually have a serious question. You know, that's not very often. So
yeah,
KJ asks, how do you juggle shift work, mining, and your writing commitments?
I think I'm quite fortunate that I'm on the week on, week off roster. When I was at Blackwater, I was on the, I think they call it the lifestyle roster, which was the 5-4-4-5. So it was a little bit of a muck around. Whereas this roster that I'm on at the moment, it was easier to manage study and my trips down to Sydney and any of the online block work that I had to do. And because as an operator, like as a lot of you guys would know that do operate, you have so much time in your machinery that you can utilize, like when you're getting loaded or whatever. So I would just print out all of my study paperwork, and I'd carry it with me, go through it, read it when I could, when I had the chance. And yes, I think with the roster that I had with mining, having the week on, week off, that week off was, a lot of that time was utilizing that to do my studies or do my writing. So the mining roster really works if you're wanting to do further study outside of mining, or I found it worked for me.
Yeah, that's all. And like, it just even going back to, you know, yourself and your history as well, and your story. And I actually do need to give a shout out to Workpack, because they were so supportive of us earlier in the year with like having you come along to the UN with us to New York.
Yeah,
so big shout out to your amazing leaders there.
Yeah, Workpack have really over the years really looked after me. I've got nothing but great things to say about Workpack. So yeah, and for them to come through in I guess, even though with everything that happened with COVID, we weren't able to go onto the trip, but for them to support me in going over was, really, really like generous and awesome. Like, they've always been very supportive of, I guess, IWIMRA and me as an operator as well. So yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say about Workpack and my dealings with them.
Oh, deadly. That's so good to hear. Yeah, because they were like pretty much like a very early sponsor as well. So it was really good that the relations that we do have, and it just shows that commitment to that professional development of their team members. So yeah, I was so happy. I was really glad, and I was so glad for you as well. So that's really good. Yeah. And so screenwriting as well, like, how did you get into that? And what, so you said season 4 for Black Comedy. Has it already been released or not?
Yeah, it's on ABC iView if you want to check it out. Writing, I guess I've always gravitated towards writing, but I never saw it as a career path, I guess. So when I was younger, I really enjoyed writing. I read a lot, and I blog on Facebook and Instagram, but just muck around. Like, it was never serious. And then my cousin had tagged me in a like a workshop that AFTAS, which is the Australian Film, Television and Radio School down in Sydney, that they were holding in Brisbane at the time for, I guess, Indigenous screenwriters. And I just happened to get in, and I went down. That was 2017. Yeah, 2017. And I met one of the lecturers through that workshop, Matt Dabner, and he ended up asking if I'd be interested in applying to go to AFTAS, which is the film school down in Sydney. It's really competitive to get in, and you have to go through this application process. So I was lucky enough to be chosen. then you take, I think it was maybe 16 or 18 people, and I got through. So it was awesome. So that was for an advanced diploma in screenwriting for film.
Wow.
And yeah, so then that was 2018. I finished my diploma down there. And then I applied to go on to the Black Comedy, the writers' table for that, which was awesome. It was an awesome experience. We all went down to Sydney with all the other writers, and you kind of just sat around for 4 days writing sketch. Like, it was so deadly at Coogee Beach. And then I graduated last year from AFTAS, and then I happened to get development funding through Screen Queensland for my first feature film.
Wow.
That, yeah, it's all kind of happened really quickly. It's a little bit surreal and overwhelming at times, but for the most part, I'm just kind of enjoying, the process and going through it. But yeah, no, so it was just something I kind of fell into initially, but then I've grown to like realize, okay, that's something that, that I'm drawn to and that I really enjoy doing, and that hopefully, if everything keeps going the way that it has been for me, I've been quite fortunate. I'll get a few projects off the ground and get some movies up.
What? That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations on all your success
you.
so far. So the writing, like, the writing table when you're sitting around, like, for Black Comedy, like, was everyone funny? Like, were you just kind of writing stuff and then laughing at it, or like, how does that process work? Do you laugh at your own kind of sketches?
Yeah. No, sometimes like you'll like you get there, and I had a few ideas of what I wanted to pitch, and they split the room kind of thing. So you had the established writers in one section, and then you had the rest of us who were all we're going through this workshop to learn how to write sketch comedy. I think there's maybe 12 or 14 of us. We refer to ourselves as the Salty Plums. We're Nah, that's my mob. And we just kind of sat around, and once we went through the process with the producers, and they kind of gave us an idea of what they were looking for and how sketch comedy works, because you only have 1 or 2 pages to kind of get the joke out. And so for the most part, we just sat around telling jokes and seeing like what stuck. And when they told me how much they pay, I was like, oh goodness, I wrote down like 24 jokes, and then you just when it comes to my turn, like because you work around the table, and then you have to start just putting these jokes out, just one after the other kind of thing. And sometimes you'll get like a big laugh, but the producers won't take it because it's either it won't work as it's too expensive to like shoot, or like you'll get like just crickets, and then you're like, all right, next joke, you just got to keep moving through. So it was one of those things, like it was like shame, like, because with us Mob, like we always shame all the time, shame, but it just went out the window, because we were just all so comfortable just sitting there, just having a laugh and telling jokes and seeing. And then when you see it go through the process of, all right, from being into that pitch stage to writing them out to they even took us down on set last year. So mine was shot in the first week of shoot, and to see it actually like be on set with the director and the actors and see it all happen, and then to watch it on ABC, it's been amazing experience.
That's amazing. So inspiring. That's Delhi. So go on then. Tell us a joke.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Like,
you just said you wrote.
Yeah, but like, I don't know how. I don't know. I don't have any like material prepared for today. Sorry. Put me on the spot. Nah.
That's too funny. No, it's Delhi. I'm definitely going to be asking for some material there. That's Delhi. Yeah. We do have a couple of questions. Thank you all for writing in as well and joining. So Shontell's here with us. So lovely to have you on and to see you. So a question from Chris. Thank you, Chris. Brother was on last night having a yarn, so we had a really good yarn last night. Question is, what do you do to maintain your health and well-being on and off site?
Oh, mining is one of those things, like, it can really, like, it's hard to explain to people who aren't in the industry what mining actually does to you. I remember going in thinking, like, because I have a lot of relatives that work in mining in IWIMRA with Rio Tinto, and I just assumed, oh, like, you just drive around for a couple of hours and you make good money, and that's a part of it, and that's a lot of the reason why we're there, is because of the roster and the pay. Like, the pay's like pretty good in comparison to a lot of other industries, but it's so much more than that. Like, you're isolated a lot of the time, and with some of these rosters, like one of the, like, working 7 nights, for example, it just takes a toll on you, not even just physically, but you're fatigued. And then compound that with the fact, if you've got something going on at home, if you're not well, all of these things, like, slowly kind of just chip away at you. And it's even the dynamic of crews and things once you get out on site. It's so different to any other industry I've worked in. And it, like, now that after I've been in for 7 years, it's I've grown accustomed to it. But initially, it took me so long to get used to the way that they operate out there. I think I'm being quite vague here. I'm not going into. I'm trying to say, but I think what worked for me the best is meditation. Really, as someone who's quite highly anxious, and it's hard for me to sometimes shut off after shift. So trying to, because you're so time poor while you're out there, like, you're having these long shifts, and then by the time you get back to camp, you've got like maybe half an hour to eat, and then call mob. And with myself, I had to do emails and stuff for writing, and so you're only getting 5 hours, if you're lucky, sleep before you get up in the morning and do it all again. And you're constantly with people. You're in the bus with them, you're in the mess hall with them, you're in the crib room with them. You never get any time to yourself. So I found that meditation really helped me personally with managing my stress, my fatigue. And I used the Headspace app initially to learn how to meditate properly and take that time out for myself. So if stress or anxiety is something that's affecting you while you're at work, I couldn't recommend meditating more. And just trying to get into a routine while you're out there, like every morning I get up and I do the same thing at the same time, kind of thing. Like, just because having that routine really helps me personally when I'm away.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with the routine. It definitely helps just to get into that system. And like you do, for me, like working from home now, I've been working from home for a month and I need a routine. Like KJ was actually up me this morning. She's like, have you been eating? I was like, yes. How many times a day? Some. No, but it's good.
Well, when you're different, hey, it goes out the window kind of thing. But when you're out on site, because everything, your time is so like precious, I guess, like, because you just don't have a lot of it. Sure that you're doing everything in that routine, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So tell us more about this. What is it? Headspace app. What do you like about it?
I think meditation was always something that I guess I was interested in, but I never quite knew how to go about properly doing it. And I guess Headspace just properly taught me how to meditate and get into that I guess mindfulness, and just to be able to just stop, I guess, and not overthink. So it was just something that I found where did I find, like, just going through the apps and just that one just stood out to me, and so I just gave it a go, and it was a good fit.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's a free downloadable one as well, hey?
The one that I've got is, but I think if you want to get, there's like more options that if you're wanting to help like with sleep or exercise or something like that, there's those options as well that you can go for.
Yeah, awesome. That's good. I'm going to have a look at that after this, so thank you. A couple of more questions here as well. So thank you, KJ. Will you ever write a sitcom with the mining Murray flavour?
Oh man, I pitched one to Black Comedy about the way we code switch. I think the first site I went at, there was only myself and another Murray lady, and then she ended up leaving, so I was the only one there. So I had to be very mindful when I'm tired, because I grew up in Thursday Island, so my English isn't great at the best of times, and so when I start getting tired, that broken English just comes out. You just start like lingo. They're like, what are you even saying? I was like, oh, my bad. And now that I'm at Dornier, and we've got plenty of Murrays and mob out there, like you just notice that like when we're talking to each other, like we just talk lingo, but then as soon as like someone, and they don't really know what you're talking about, then you got to switch back. So I'd love to do something about even just crib hut conversations. Some of the stuff you hear in there would be hilarious. That'd be good.
Yeah, definitely. And because you're spending so much time with the same people, you really get to know them as well.
Sure. It's
a safe space to crack jokes and all of that. So that's what I'm.
It's like so tired, and you sit around and you just tell like the driest jokes, but they're funny. Like it's hard to explain. They're like your weird family, like
they are your weird family, but all love. So
for sure.
tell us a joke before you go tonight. I'm not going to let you go until you tell us a joke.
Stinking hang. All right. No. Let me think.
Okay.
I don't just tell them, I don't walk around with material, it's hard to, you just cracked, you just say simple stuff. I can't just think of jokes off the top of my head.
Oh, totally. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Haley wrote in as well. Yeah, a lot of alone time out there as well. So, yeah, very true.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, especially being isolated. Because I remember when I was up in IWIMRA as well, it was I used to hate night shift actually because I'm just so scared of the dark. I really, really, really hated night shift, and I know I'm not the only one. So don't even be denying.
No, there's a part of the mine site that if they ever send me out there to fuel up, I'm like, nah, I'd rather drive this truck till it runs out of fuel than go all the way out there because it's so dark. That's not my country. Like no one's gonna hear me. But I get. I like night shift because it's quiet. You can listen to beats, and day shift it tends to be quite hectic and on the two-way.
Yeah, definitely. And so like cultural safety on site as well. What do you do? Like, what do you do for your own cultural safety?
Cultural safety, that's a big one because I think when I initially came into mining, to be completely honest, I don't know if there was a lot of cultural safety. And in saying that, in 7 years, it's changed quite a lot. Being from when I started, there were 5 of us on the intake, but we were all split up. We weren't kept together. So I was the only person of colour on that crew, and we were only a crew of about 6 or 7 women. So in 7 years, that's changed so much. You go to the site that I'm at now, or the likes of Cavill Ridge, where there's this big push for, I guess, diversity and inclusion and things like that. And you see, I remember the first time I rocked up to Dornier and I saw how many women were there and how many other mob were there. I was like, oh, thank God. Because it's one thing to push to have I guess diversity, but if your workplace isn't culturally safe. I think you're going to have issues around retention and things like that. So for myself, when it comes to cultural safety, I think initially when I came into the industry, I wouldn't speak up if there was an issue. But now, I guess because there's myself and there's a few other mob out there around things like having the flag on site, or even making sure we have a NAIDOC celebration. Like, we never used to have NAIDOC on site, but you have to actually push for these things. And so we've got a lot of mob out on site now that when these events and things do come up, we make it quite clear, you know, like, we need to have this recognition out there. And we're quite lucky in that our supervisors and management kind of do support us. Like, it's only just now when I went to the airport last time at Moranbah that I saw that there's the you know, the map, the Australian map with all of the different languages, and it said on there, whose country are you on? And I was like, how deadly is that? But it just took just a couple of conversations and just putting it out there, you know, maybe you should have these resources available. And so it's just, I guess, if you feel comfortable, if you have a group of mob, it's just speaking up. And because if you don't say anything, they don't know, because they're still going through that process themselves of having so many people of like diverse backgrounds on these sites. So it's still like just making it known, I guess.
Yeah, definitely, I agree, and that's such good good tips as well there. So I might steal a few. So thank you. No, but you're so right. About just having that conversation and feeling, you know, safe to say it as well. And you're right, like the industry is definitely changing, and there's a lot more, you know, education around it as well. So it's really, really good.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Just a couple of comments here for you as well. So Doug and Leasley, Too Deadly, my sister. So definitely they're all in there. Hanea as well, Too Deadly. Thank you, Hanea, for tuning in. Mariam, hi everyone, and love listening to our talk. So thank you for that. KJ again. No ifs. I can't even read what she says.
Don't even read it out.
Oh no, but Chris and David says Too Deadly, Shani. So that's really good. Oh, joke, please. They are demanding a joke. So you gotta be.
Nah, you mug. Nah.
Oh, Morley, thank you so much. Great talk. Always good to work with Morley. She's our sister down in Melbourne. Very good. A message from Poppy. Hello, Poppy, and love to Luca. How would you describe your sense of humour?
Sarcastic, I reckon, eh? Like, I don't know. Like, that's the thing. I often wonder, like, because I know it's a lot of people won't agree with me, but I'm actually very introverted. I don't really, I'm not that outgoing, man. I like staying home and slow cooking and like hanging out my rice cooker. Yeah.
Lately.
Yeah. Yeah, like making curries and stuff. So, like, I don't know what it is. Like, I think when we first moved down from Thursday Island and we landed in Cairns, like, I grew up out at the Northern Beaches at Trinity Beach. And I think, like, it was a big culture shift for sure.
Ooh.
And so I was thinking, like, I remember when I was younger, like, I think my saving grace was that, like, I was good at sports and then I was funny. I think that's what helped me fit in with these mob, and it's just kind of just, stayed as is. Like, I think my humor is what helps me get along with people, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to explain. I'm just simple. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Mining shorts for comedy. How blackfellas adapt to the industry. That might be interesting.
That would be, very, very funny. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And just some of the jokes and stuff we say in that, like, over the two-way, true goodness, like, it's, lucky that I know what we're talking about sometimes. Yeah, but, I'd love to. I'd love to do something about, with, like, around my screenwriting with mining. even I was thinking even like a documentary style, just to follow, I guess, our mob in mining, because there isn't that really understanding of how difficult it really is. Like sometimes, and what we do, like my nieces don't even understand, like the type of stuff I do. Like I drive big trucks, and they're like, oh, yep, yep, yep. But to actually show what we do, I think a lot of people, yeah, I'd love to showcase what how we contribute to the industry, and but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully,
That's
yeah.
deadly. Watch this space,
Yeah,
because I think it's so important just having that Indigenous lens on what we do, because it is controversial. And I've said this, I think, the last 3 nights, but like we do know, like it is controversial. It was very difficult for me anyway to start this, to start IWIMRA, to start that conversation. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to, I'm like, as soon as I post anything or think about anything, it's just like, oh my God. But yeah, I think, and it's all about education. And if we can deliver it to the right audience, like, like you do screenwriting. So, having it in a way where it's educational and simple but fun at the same time, I think that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think mining is one of those industries, like it does, for a number of reasons, can be quite controversial, and especially with the way in which now that they're recruiting, I think it still causes issues around the amount of women that they're putting in mining, especially people of color. So it's just having, I think when you, film and television can be used to educate and inform and provide knowledge, and you're seeing people who aren't like you doing things that, like, how can you say, just in everyday life. And so I think that's why using film and television to show our perspectives is always like a really good way to get our messages across.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, when people can take that away and watch it in their own time, they can start to really think about it and react to it, and that in their own private space as well. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, KJ, for your question. Do you ever think we will see the day when we have a full leadership line of Indigenous leaders?
I think we're getting this.
Yeah.
It's a new space that we're kind of, or new territory that we're kind of working in, isn't it? Like, so you're having to have these new faces in an industry that's been so used to, I guess, people who are non-Indigenous and male. So, and the way in which they used to recruit back in those days, it was like, oh, my uncle works there or something like that. Whereas now there's these set processes in place, and they're bringing people on board, and the people that they're bringing on board have amazing skill sets, and that I think, if properly utilized and tapped into, could make really great leaders. But it's just getting, I guess, management and stuff on board as well, and having those, giving them a chance, I guess, to show that they can. I'm quite lucky. I work at a site in which it's slowly, there is changes. You're starting to see females on operating machinery that they wouldn't usually. You're starting to see them in leadership roles. You're starting to see some brothers in like step up and supervisor roles. And so I think it's going to take time. Like, it'll come with time, I think. So it's just providing those opportunities and giving people a chance, and having, I guess, circling back to that cultural safety and that cultural awareness, and having people, I guess, test their cultural biases, or see, like, because they're more likely to choose someone, I guess, that they're used to choosing, instead of giving someone else a go, I guess. Yeah, so, but yeah, we'll see. Like, the industry's been changing so rapidly over the years. Like, I think there's a lot of space for our mob to move laterally and upward if they wanted to, but you just got to, put yourself out there and give it a go.
Yeah, definitely. Such good points there. And you're so right, because, and just going back to what you said with, the hiring and the trust and the management, the people, if you're not familiar with the person that you're hiring, like say, if you're like, if, I was a male leader, I was a white male leader, and it's all about, like, I guess, education and familiarity. And if there's something that you don't feel safe in, then you're not going to have a firm decision on. So if you have that cultural education, that's both two-way as well. I think that's beneficial for our leadership team to be, a full Indigenous line leadership as well, or, women or whichever. Just that diversity adds so much more.
Yeah, because there's strength in diversity, and I think, like you were saying, like there's people that they're used to doing something, because this industry's been around in Australia for a long time, and they've been used to doing it a set way for so long. So everything is changing rapidly in our industry. Hopefully over the next couple of years, you will see that more of a diverse upper management kind of thing. So I am quite confident that it will happen, but it's just going to take time.
Yeah, definitely. And now with like with COVID and everything, it's really making us think about automation and all of that as well. So it's like, if the majority of people in mob that are, underskilled, or that education, like they don't have that tertiary education in general at that level, what are we going to do there? So yeah, it's going to be a huge change. It's going to be interesting to see after COVID what happens there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, it's really good. Which way how's that joke going? Still coming along or what?
No more. Nah, I got nothing.
Oh God, thank you. Mel is an amazing supporter of IWIMRA. She's been a really good woman towards us, just huge supporter. So thank you, Mel. A short video about what it's like to be an Indigenous woman on site sounds like a great idea. So I think you'll definitely have some contact after pitching that. So you better start, recruiting for your...
Yeah, sure. Well, I hit them up at site there, but they're all shame. I was like, oh, well, help a sister out, I'll be on NIT.
That's what I'm going. Like, that's me.
Yeah, don't we all?
So, like, what do you do on site as well? Like, when you're talking about like role models and that, like, because you're obviously in the position where you can really, influence our young people and all of that. Do you have those conversations amongst yourselves where you're like, we're role models? Like, what are we going to do? Because there's a bit of ownership as well there, right? Because yes, we're on site and we're in these positions, and when we talk about Indigenous leadership and people that are already on site, you really need to have those role models to feel comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. And I think when it comes to leadership, it's the way you view leadership as well. I consider myself to be a leader on site in that I see the potential of, as a trainer assessor, any of our trainees that are coming through, and then you're like, okay, that's my job then to develop them and give them the supports that they need to be able to move from not just operating, but onto other areas of mining if they wanted to. So it's helping them develop that skill set. And we were quite fortunate to have an intake of Indigenous trainees come through about 2 years. Yeah, I think they're all finishing their traineeship this year. And it's been one of the most successful intakes that we've had around retention. And I think that's because you do have the trainer assessors on site who are Indigenous as well, and are there and providing the supports for these young ladies while they're going through their traineeship. And so it's just making sure that, that you're, I guess, guiding them through their traineeship. And we've had a trainee come through and wanting to develop and go on to other areas, like, for example, IROC, which is the call, what do you call it? Control down in Brisbane. Yeah, so it's just getting her skilled up and getting helping her with her application, for example, and going through like potential interview questions and things like that. And it's using because there's a few of us Indigenous operators that have been there for quite some time that are in operator roles, Bukoy Bond and Christy Sullivan, for example. And we use the influence that we have on site to not only like how can I say it, like help develop these trainees, but also push forward events and things like, for example, like we never used to have, like I've already mentioned, this NAIDOC week out on site, and that was a collaborative between a few of us to try and get this forward and have profiles of the Indigenous operators on site, things like that. So it's just, I guess we've put ourselves into that position where we provide that knowledge to management, and then provide the support to the other operators coming up behind us to make sure that they're feeling that they have as much opportunities that they can for
That's
further
really,
training or development. Yeah.
that's congratulations for that, because it's like really creating a safe space for everyone to learn. And I think really asking questions, you know, management want questions answered, or you know, or they're unsure about, you know, being appropriate culturally. I think that's really
it.
you stand up and do that. And you know, traditionally being such a strong matriarchal community or society, I think it naturally falls onto our lap as women to, you know, lead and nurture and really to bring about.
That's right.
Really, yeah. So it's really nice. Okay. We have a question, so I have to look away this way for a second. So Julie, thank you so much for your question. What advice do you have for our girls in years 10 to 12 about having a career in mining?
Oh, what advice? Geez. I think
Do you want me to go
there are
to
so many.
flip an advice out there for?
For people interested in mining, or younger mob coming
Kids, yeah, sorry,
through.
like 10 to 12.
Oh, okay. There are so many avenues that you could go down when it comes to mining, whether it's operating, whether you're wanting to work. Like I've got a niece that works in the lab, for example, whether it's administrative roles. So it's having a think about exactly where, like, are they doing the research as to what type of positions are there and what fits best with you. I think when you're younger, like what you're wanting to do will change and shift so often. So don't feel like if you're an operator, that's all you're going to do is be an operator. There's so many opportunities out there in this industry for you to pursue if you're wanting to. So it'd be just seeing if you live in an area that's near like a mine, if they've got any type of traineeships or apprenticeships that you might be able to apply for. Oh geez, what else?
And I think those, like, you know, those career days that you have as well are really helpful. Like, so really,
Them.
you know, when those career days are on, really go out and talk to those people that are there, because you usually have like a collection of universities come through, and like CSIRO is very active, and you know, there's a lot of information there, and it's kind of tailored towards that high school language and delivery. So there's a lot of support there. So definitely go to career days, and even like looking online as well. There's a lot of education out there for that as well.
Yeah. If they do have career days that, and you notice that there is a mining stall there, go. I know that down in like for example at NAIDOC Day down in Brisbane, they probably won't have one this year because of COVID, but they used to have like Rio Tinto have a stall, or BHP would have a stall. So just go and have a chat and see if they've got anything on offer, and see if it's the right fit for you.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. So what else have you been doing now? So now we're all like, so those are questions and all that. And thank you so much for sharing all of that knowledge and reflecting what your lived experience has been on site. So moving on now. So what are you thinking? Can you share a little bit more about your projects that you're doing for your screenwriting?
Yeah. The one of the projects I'm working on, the one that's under that got development funding with Screen Queensland, the feature film. It's called Adorkable. So it's a romantic comedy. I'm at the stage where we're just going through this, I guess the second draft of the script. That has to be done hopefully by the end of this month. So fingers crossed, if it keeps gaining momentum, yeah, we'll be going into hopefully, I don't know, maybe production next year or the year after. So yeah, it's just a romantic comedy. I thought, why not something different? And I love like was it Top End Wedding and what was the other one? Like Sapphires and stuff like that. So and romantic comedy is like, I don't know, like I just wanted to show our mob just in everyday life, going through, you know, the trials and tribulations of relationships and all of that sort of stuff, but I guess funny. Yeah.
Oh,
So that's that one. Yeah, and then I've got another one that I'm working on as well, but nah, I don't want to. It's still new kind of thing.
Very young, very fresh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you actually wrote the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah. Using like as through my studies at AFTAS, went through like I guess the 3-act structure of a movie, and so yeah, just developed it around that, and we just had to just come up with a character, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny to have someone who's a little bit like good way doogie and inept trying to navigate. It's not about me, Nat Gavin. Navigate the way in which people date now, you know, with the Tinder and all that sort of stuff. Like, I'm old, man. I'm 37. Like, this sort of stuff wasn't a thing when I was in my 20s and that, you know, like, if you liked someone, you'd get your cousin to go over and tell them, you know, like, you wasn't jumping on Tinder and doing any of that sort of stuff. So I thought, wouldn't it be funny to see someone try and navigate that? And yeah, I've got like quite a good response from it, I guess. And I've done a few table reads, and I look around the table, and you're like, especially with some of the actors in that, when I did the table read at AFTAS, and I was like, oh, if I can make her laugh, you know, it must be all right. And she was like in tears laughing. So hopefully, I think with the at the end of it, what my goal would be is to sit and listen to people laugh, I guess, like, you know, having just a bit of a laugh at, yeah. So that's the whole goal, is just something that's lighthearted and yeah, funny.
Yeah, that's excellent. It'd be. I'm so excited for you, and congratulations. And I'd really like to, see, you know, like really like to see more mob follow your footsteps as well, because of your story, and you know, see, you know, get into writing, that storytelling.
Yeah, we're naturally good storytellers, Mobile. Like, that's just a part of like our culture's quite oral, you know. And I think we've got a very unique sense of humor as well. And so to be able to showcase that, and like, and my goal is, when it comes to writing, is to just have films that are written by us for us, you know. And I'm stronger in my comedic writing, but there are so many stories like around the country, especially from my country, that I'd like to share and tell as well. But you know, just little steps at a time, and get this project off the ground, and then hopefully that'll gain some traction, and off the back of that, I'll be able to develop and write a few more stories. Yeah, so it's exciting. It's really good. I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. And like you were saying before, and I think like really pitching about like women in mining, or like just with that Indigenous lens on, like it could really help with, you know, having when there's a crisis like COVID, and it's like, how do we start to communicate with everyone out there? Like, it just flows so much, you know, I guess, be received so much more just lighter as well. Like I know obviously like it's the gravity of the circumstances is very like it's unacceptable obviously, but I think just messaging in that we could really do something. I think that'd be exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And they want to shoot a little bit of up at TI. So I was like, oh, yes, that'll be mad. Yeah. I said, you won't need. There's a scene that they want to shoot up there, and I was like, oh, mad. I was like, you won't need any like what do you call it? Like extras. I'll just get my family as long as you just feed them. Yeah.
Everyone will.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully, like I'm not hopefully, you got to speak it into existence. So when it happens, it's going to be deadly, and I can't wait. I can't wait to share that and be able to share that experience with my mob up there. Like that'd be so mad.
Yeah, that'd be so happy. And because my mob's still up there as well. Where did you used to live on TI?
My uncle used to stop there with John Street. But we lived up on Millman Hill. But back in them days, back in them days, there's only like 3 houses up there. We was the first house when you go up, kind of thing. Like you could see the pool and the school from our place. But we spent most of our time there. Where like, either at Ucker's place at the front there, or Tumway Town, because Dad's brother stops there at the back, Uncle Alan. Yeah, so and because we've got plenty of cousins up the back there. Yeah, we used to just hang around there. Back in the day, I went to Tumway preschool, and I was Taurus house.
Yeah. And we're actually the same age.
Oh, there, look, yeah. So we probably went to school together. Look.
We'd have a look at those school photos.
Yeah, I got one there. I got one school photo there. My teacher, my year 1 teacher, like, good way. This is terrible. She was the one had no, like, some of her fingers were missing, man. She had no fingers. Do you remember her? She had the. I can't remember her name. She was my year 1 teacher.
Mine was like Mr. Hodges. Was there Mr. Hodges?
No, we had different than
Yeah.
But no, it was mad. I loved growing up there. We used to get money from my uncle's place there at John Street, and then my cousin, she was the only one, and one of us that had a bike, so we used to ride around to CEOPS and get like gum and like salty plums, and it's good. Hey, good growing up there back in the day.
Yeah, no, that's so good. And you're so right when you were saying before, like with mob on site, you just talk language. Like even over here, like, you know, when in Western Australia, I start yarning up, like saying all this stuff. They're like, hey, you from Broome? I'm like, no. They're like, you probably sound like Broome girl. And I was like, oh, really? So, hey, we got 7 minutes. I'm going to give you some time to think about this job.
I use my blog. I don't like just like come up with material, you know. I just don't have like jokes off the top of my head, you know. Like I just mock stuff. Yeah.
If anyone's got a topic idea out there, just send us a message, and that can be like a bit of a start of your material.
More like I mock myself most of the time, eh? Like that's really my material. It's very all self-deprecating. I can't think of anything. Sorry, you mob. Biggest letdown. I don't have any jokes. Sorry.
No, but like I guess in you know, just kind of wrapping up a little bit, just thank you so much for being on board with us. It's so good to have you. Such a deadly strong woman. I'm so excited to travel with you as well next year. Like, you know, we're really pushing towards UN again. Hopefully everything settles with COVID, but there's so many people out there as well that are just, there's so much love out there, because when we went to Latin America and all of that, it's just, I can't wait for you all to meet everyone over there. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's like really exciting, and to be on board with you guys. And I think we've been working together now, I think maybe 3 or 4 months ish kind of thing. And we have a lot of stuff in the pipeline, like when it starts happening and once COVID kind of gets out of the way and we can start putting it out there, like it's really exciting, like the stuff that we've got planned. And I can't wait to get it out there and get more mob on board. And it's great.
Yeah, then we're good. And you're going to be sharing your story as well with us sometime on the Facebook, so you can read a little bit more about Shontell. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got to get my hat first. Remember, I got to get my hat so I can take a photo.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've got some material here. Tell us how you love dolphins.
Who said that? No, this is what happened was, this is a true story. Hey, like when I was like 15, what's that thing now? You know when you go overseas and like for high school exchange, I did exchange, and I went to Seattle. I went to high school in Seattle for a couple of weeks. Anywho, on the way home, listen to this yarn. Listen to this yarn now. This is how terrible. This is what happened. And on the way back, we stopped in San Diego. And I was slack, I just wanted to stay at the hotel. You know, I'm slack, but you know them mob go, like big eye, let's go. And so we ended up going to one aquarium, and there was this dolphin. Shut up, Craig. There's this dolphin doing stuff. And I was like, oh, man, you know, back in the day, like, remember them wind-up camera, You'd have to wind that sucker up. So then we went to the edge of the pool after they finished the show now. And this there's that Kunzi that was running that thing, that trainer belonged to that dolphin. You reckon, if you want to take photos, you know, throw this ball and like it'll throw it back to you, and you just like throw it back. And that dolphin was right down the other side of the pool. There's another kind of big pool. And I thought I got plenty of time to, like, you know, wind my camera up this kind to take that photo. And and I was a good way winding. I went to go look up, and that dolphin, true God, it hit me with that ball in the face. And oh man, I was that cut, like I was 14, 15, swearing my guts out at the zoo or whatever aquarium at San Diego on this dolphin, knocked my scrunchie out, dropped my camera, like made of money, like, oh, I was thinking, and yeah, I hated dolphins ever since, because it embarrassed me. And then one time I went to so that's that yarn now about the dolphin. So everyone, like, they try and make it dirty, like this dolphin did something to me in the pool. No, it just hit me. They try and make it dirty. It's not dirty. It's just, that's what happened. That's the true story. And then now, look, you know, when I was working for Telstra, that's my first job. Telstra, because we made all them like big sales and that, they sent us down to SeaWorld. And this would have been, I would have been, how old was I? 24, 25? And they was like, oh, as you're like, you know, to say thank you, we're going to take you to dolphin shows. Like, these dogs, you know, they got to, and I had to go because, you know, and then I ended up getting charged up because I was given that free drug. Sorry, this is terrible. I had a little bit too much to drink, so I could go to this dolphin show. And yeah, meanwhile, Mario was there, bombed up, singing out for this dolphin. It was, yeah. Not good.
That's so funny.
That's the dolphin story. But I don't mind them. Like, I don't mind them, but I just think they're dodgy. You know, I just think that there's something about them that's not, you know, they're shifty. You know, like, I don't trust them. Yeah.
Well, that's so funny.
Yeah, so that's the yarn. So whenever people say, oh, you know, and then one Christmas, this lady that I work with, Tony, bless her, gave me this biggest dolphin, inflatable dolphin, for Secret Santa, and then I had to catch the bus to work, and I almost missed it. My supervisor's like, "What are you late for?" And I was like, "I had to deflate my dolphin." And then yeah. But anyways, that's the yarn. That's all they mock me for, that dolphin. But I was harassed, you know.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Angela, for sending that in.
Was that Angela Evans? Oh, that's right. She's supposed to be my best friend, but anyways.
What else you got, Angela?
Ange.
And then Cass Baker reckons between dolphins in mining. That could be a
dolphins. Nah. Yeah.
No, that's really good. No, thank you so much for that. So we're just closing up here. So Richard, do you have any last words for everyone out there, like sisters, like, you know, people who are out there wanting to get into mining, or just the sisters that you've got out there already that are in mining, in lockdown, in, you know, isolation and all of that. What have you got for them?
Yeah, for sure. Well, connect with us, I guess. There's the IWIMRA Facebook page, and on there, there's got our details. So if you're wanting to, need to have a yarn, if you have any other questions, have any other, like, if you're looking at, if you're coming into mining and you want to know about like resume, any of that sort of stuff, resumes, interviews, if you just want to have a chat, a yarn, whatever, hit us up. Hey, we're there. You know, we're trying to build this network, and we're wanting to have like as many people on board as we can. So we're here to, yarn if you need us.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much. Oh, one last one from KJ. I know we've just run a little bit over time, but that's all right. They won't shut us down. Is it true you did backup? Is it true you did backup vocals for Alicia Keys way back in the day?
Nah, that's another yarn for another time. That was me and KJ was at the Alicia Keys concert, like this longest time ago, like 16 years ago, and we was like third row from. It's Alicia Keys use mob, Alicia Keys, like, and we was, again, I don't like, so, like, we've had a little bit too much to drink, and she started like coming down these stairs singing Karma, and we're both of us just jumped up, and we was like singing out hard for her, right? This is Alicia Keys use mob. She had to stop singing because she was laughing at us. And then when she looked at us, TG, she had to stop singing. She was laughing. And then she looked at me and KJ and smiled. And then me and KJ let off the most gaminous scream, like, it was, or something like that. But anyway, both of us together. And then she started laughing again. So she had to stop singing Karma, her opening song at her concert, because me and KJ was singing out for Alicia Keys. She's my imaginary best friend. So yeah, that's the Alicia Keys yarn. You might want to put any other my business on Front Street?
No, thank you so much. Thanks so much for bringing yourself to the show tonight. Look out for your screen, like your movie, your upcoming movie. You might even leave mining and be in Hollywood. You could employ Alicia.
Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah, sure. Can only hope, that's the goal.
Oh, no worries. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for the questions and everything. Thank you so much, sister. I'll talk to you again soon. Hey, have a good night.
Yawa. Good night.
Thank you. Yawa.
Yeah.